We have a rule in our family. Once you buy a gun, you keep the gun. You don't give it away. You don't sell it. You pass it down from generation to generation. It essentially becomes a family heirloom. But under a new bill awaiting Governor Abigail Spanberger's signature, doing just that would make you a criminal. I'm going to have a rundown of all the gun legislation that is now sitting on Governor Abigail Spanberger's desk. It is some of the most restrictive bills we have seen anywhere in the U.S. when it comes to your gun rights. From ghost guns to gun locks to getting in a fight with your boyfriend or girlfriend, we're going to tell you everything you need to know about these pieces of legislation now sitting on the governor's desk, and about that all-important July 1st, 2026 deadline that is quickly approaching, where you're going to have to prove to the government you own these family heirlooms. Hello everyone, welcome to Virginia Insider. I'm Uriah Kiser, where we are giving you the news you need to take back your Commonwealth and your community. If you're new here, and many of you are, because we have nearly 6,000 new subscribers to this channel in the past 28 days, all I can say is thank you. Thank you for liking our videos. Thank you for subscribing to our channel. Thank you for trusting us to bring you the news you need about Virginia. I'm a local news publisher with more than 20 years of experience in reporting in local news, and we want to make sure that on this channel, you're getting the information you need to connect with your community, inform your neighbors, take action where you live to fight back for your rights. So hit that bell notification and subscribe for more content. I'm truly humbled that you guys have come in the way you have and liked us and supporting us so far. We've got some major news to get into today, because these bills now, some of the most restrictive gun bills that we have seen anywhere in the U.S., have now left the General Assembly as of March 14th and have now moved on to Governor Abigail Spanberger's desk. She has until 11:59 p.m. on April 13th, 2026 to act on this legislation. And if she does, she signs it, like she's expected to sign these bills because she's a Democrat. She's gotten a lot of support from Moms Demand Action and other groups that are anti-gun. She is expected to sign these bills. But even if she doesn't, it's called a pocket approval. She could just let these bills go and do nothing. They could very well become law as is. Now, she can amend these bills. She could clearly veto them, but she's not expected to do that. She could amend them. She could send them back to the General Assembly, ask for changes, but she is expected to sign these bills. Now, let's get into them so you know exactly what they are. The main two bills, House Bill 17, Senate Bill 749, they deal with assault firearms. That's large, vague term, assault firearms, and large capacity magazines. What they do, they ban the future purchase, sale, transfer, manufacture, or import of assault firearms. Again, we're talking, you heard on this channel, if you're a regular viewer, you heard Senator Scott Surville from Fairfax describe an assault pistol with something with a telescope on it. Clearly he meant to say sight. Clearly assault pistol is not a common term. So we see the vernacular that they're using in Richmond to describe these guns, or showing how unfamiliar they are with guns, talking about fixing telescopes onto guns. But nonetheless, these are the authors of these bills that have made it out of the General Assembly and again to the governor's desk. So it banning the future purchase, sale, transfer, manufacture, or import of, quote, assault firearms. These are semi-auto, centerfire rifles, pistols, shotguns, like with pistol grips, a folding stock, and magazines. And here's the kicker: the magazines between 10 and 15 rounds. Now, anybody who shot a gun in any recently knows that these guns hold more than 10 bullets. Most magazines today hold more than 10 bullets. Whether you're shooting at a range, you're shooting on your farm, you're in the military, you have a gun that has more than 10 bullets in it. So these are very common guns. And that, what we're going to get into a little bit later as we talk about where this might be headed into the courts. But knowing that, this is what they are looking to curb. And essentially what they're doing is a slow confiscation of all these types of guns, because what they're banning here is they're banning no transfers. You can't pass them down. You can't give them to your kids. You can't keep it in the family. You cannot sell them. And all of this starts July 1st this year, July 1st, 2026. So the question becomes, hey, how is the government going to know if I had this firearm before the July 1st, 2026 deadline? That's up to you to prove that you own the firearm before the deadline. So if the government comes around asking, hey, where'd you get this gun? How long have you had it? It's going to want to know, hey, do you have a receipt? First and foremost, do you have a receipt for this gun? Do you have a picture of you with this gun on your phone that's dated before the July 1st deadline? Do you have a text message? Do you have some sort of record of you with this firearm prior to July 1st, 2026? That's how they're going to know. And so if they come across your gun, they're going to be asking that. And it's going to be up to you to show burden of proof if this bill becomes law. Now, other gun bills on Governor Spanberger's desk includes House Bill 40, which deals with ghost guns and unserialized firearms. What this bill does, it bans making, selling, or transferring or possessing unserialized or undetectable frames and receivers, right? So if you make a gun, you print a 3D gun, doesn't have a serial number on it, you could get 1 to 10 years in prison or up to 12 months in jail and a fine. Another bill, HB 871 and Senate Bill 348. This has to do with locking up your guns and your ammunition in your home. It requires both be locked up if minors are in the house. Comes with it, class 4 misdemeanor, a $250 fine if cops come in your house and find that your ammo and your guns are not locked up. House Bill 100, visible gun in an unattended vehicle. This one's interesting. We hear cops all the time tell us, hey, take your guns inside. Don't leave your guns in your car. This bill addresses exactly what we've been hearing from police for so many years. But now, if you leave your gun in your car and somebody walking down the sidewalk can see it, you could be fined up to $500, and the state will come in and tow your car. They'll impound it. You won't have it anymore. So this is police. This is the government trying to crack down on people leaving guns in their car. Now, to be fair, that is a big way guns are stolen. And then police, they say that's how these guns find their ways into bad guys' hands. People leave them in their cars, sometimes unlocked. It's an easy target. They go in, they take the guns. But here, if you leave your gun out where people can see it, it's $500. They very well may tow your car. And here's another bill, HB 19 and Senate Bill 160, has to do with domestic violence. So if you get an assault and battery conviction against your partner, your girlfriend, your wife, your boyfriend, your whatever it is, you could very well be slapped with a lifetime gun ban. You get this assault misdemeanor, you own a gun, they could very well take away your right to own a gun. So someone shows up, there's been a fight at your house, you've got an argument, there's a gun present, a cop shows up to the door, you find the gun, whether you used it or not, you could very well lose your right to have that gun anytime else in the future. Banned for life. Finally, red flag orders. These are emergency stop buttons for family members who say this guy is dangerous, he has a gun, we need to get the gun out of his hands, he could hurt himself, he could hurt us. It actually expands who can petition, what courts can consider, and how long orders last during appeals. It also allows temporary gun removal if someone is judged a substantial risk as a red flag risk. So let me ask you, have you read the Virginia Constitution recently? I got a lot of comments on my videos. A lot of people are saying the right to bear arms shall not be infringed. What don't the legislators get about this? Under not only the Virginia Constitution, but obviously the U.S. Constitution, the two documents mirror each other when it comes to this, and they both have explicitly in there the right to bear arms shall not be infringed. Going deeper, here's what the Virginia Constitution has to say about that. Article 1, Section 13 states exactly, that a well-regulated militia composed of the body of the people trained to arms is the proper, natural, and safe defense of a free state. Therefore, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So there it is in plain text. But courts over the years have seen it differently. So this bill, this HB 217 and House Bill 749 that ban the number of bullets in a magazine, this bill is a clear court case. We know it's going to court. If it becomes law in Virginia, it's going to go to court. It's the most likely to be challenged out of all of these bills. But the courts, in many cases, have seen it differently. And the right to bear arms shall not be infringed. That's absolutism. And the courts, they haven't agreed on complete absolutism. Now, the magazine bans, bullets of 10 or 15 rounds, it is the piece of legislation that is most likely going to be challenged in court because 15-round magazines are pretty common. AR-15s, they're very common guns. And it's going to be very difficult for the government to prove that A, they're not, and B, they're not possessed by many Virginia citizens. And so they're going to have to prove that they are unusual guns, scary guns, assault guns. And the burden of proof is going to be on the state to prove that, despite the fact that they are so commonplace everywhere you look. We also have to look to the U.S. Supreme Court on this. If you'll remember, back in 2022, the Supreme Court looked at a New York law that made it really hard to get a permit to carry a gun outside your house. The court said, nope, that's not fair. If the Second Amendment says the right to keep and bear arms, then normal people should be able to carry guns for self-defense, not just at home. So now the courts will have to check the new gun rules this way. Does the rule stop something like the Constitution, which protects owning common guns? If yes, the government has to prove that the rule is like old rules from way back in history, from the 1700s to the 1800s, and they look for similar safety rules from the past. It's like saying, show me this kind of limit has been done before in the United States. While some courts say these guns are super common now, you can't ban the new ones. Others say old laws ban scary or unusual weapons, so it might be okay. So the courts are still battling this one out. So expect this law to be challenged first. And we'll be watching right here. Please, this video, subscribe to our channel if you want more news about what's happening in Virginia and your rights. Hit that bell notification. Be notified when we post new content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.